What's going on, guys? It's Hi, and after a morning of trying to navigate through the New York subway system, I finally made it to Brooklyn, and I'm actually right beside the Brooklyn Bridge right now. Maybe you can see it. So Brooklyn is the destination for today. I'll be hanging out here, trying to find some interesting places, and of course make some beautiful images. So after editing yesterday's video where I was going through New York, Times Square, Central Park, and everything, exploring for the first time, I noticed there was something wrong with this microphone, the one that's recording me right now, and it's just cutting in and out. So I'm just warning you in advance there might be some issues with the audio for the upcoming videos before I can get this mic fixed. I have it mounted right now and it's recording me, and I've also mic'd myself up with a lav mic, but this lav mic doesn't have a wind buff, so it might just record a bunch of wind noise, so I'll just have to go back and forth and hopefully get something usable. So just a warning in advance. So right now I'm just right beside the Brooklyn Bridge. There are water taxis and you can see the whole New York skyline right beside me, but I'm not going to take a picture of this. Although it's nice, it's a very mid-noon average day, clear blue skies with little patches of clouds. So for me, this is not good landscape or cityscape conditions, so I'm looking for something else. Right over this ledge, there is actually a little piling of rocks, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks very ordinary. It's just a pile of rocks with water splashing next to it. But to me, this is a good spot for long exposures or longer exposures. You know, you can drop like a 10 stop, 6 stop ND filter or something like that and get some pretty great images. So I'm just gonna set up here and kind of experiment around with this and see what I can get. So as you can see, I'm bringing out the filter system right now, and it's really going to help with this image because there is so much sunlight and it's water. It's just sunlight hitting the water and glaring up off of it. And the camera is really capturing all of that, so I'm getting a lot of glare from the back of my monitor, and having this filter system, especially with the polarizer in there, will really help with everything. So right now, what I'm trying to show you is how the polarizer can really affect this image. As you can see, the polarizer is at pretty much its minimum right now, and I'm just gonna crank it up. Look at the water on the side and of course the rocks. It becomes so much darker and so much less glare, and the image is really, to me, that much better. But let me just minimize it, and there you go. So much glare coming off the water and the rocks, and I'm just gonna crank the polarizer back into where I think it'll be good, which is right about there. So right now I have everything set up at 1/15 of a second, f11 at ISO 100. But I'm about to drop in this 6-stop ND filter, and after some calculation, it'll be about a 4-second exposure, which will make the water pretty smooth. How smooth, I'm not really sure yet, just because the water is moving a little bit slow in the first place, so there might not be as dramatic of an effect as I would like, but we'll just have an experiment and see what we get. Okay, so that photo was a little bit more disappointing than I wanted it to be. It's a decent photo, but when I was taking it, by the time that I set up the camera and everything, the water really calmed down and wasn't really splashing at all. So I barely got any long exposure motion. So although it's a decent photo, I'm not completely happy with it. Okay, so we just stopped by and grabbed something to eat at Front Street Pizza, and I didn't plan this out, but check this out. Front Street Pizza just happens to be right in front of Washington Street, which is the super hyped Instagram spot where everybody takes a picture of the Brooklyn Bridge. So I found this funny, but when I was recording in front of Front Street Pizza, some random person just came up to me and asked me if I was a vlogger and whatnot. I told him yeah, and gave him my business card, and apparently now he's going to check out my content. I just found that interesting because that was the first time that that's ever happened to me. I guess it's because most of the time I'm in the mountains, so nobody really sees me, but if you ever see me in the streets, come up and say hi. I guess I'll give you my business card or something. So like I said, I'm currently on Washington Street right now, and I don't know if you can tell because I'm using somewhat of a wide angle lens, but there are people everywhere on the street just ducking and dodging the cars trying to get their picture. And something like this, like I said, it's just a really popular Instagram spot, and it really reminds me of Lombard Street in San Francisco where everybody's just standing about. So as you can see, I've already set up my camera very low to the ground, tripod pretty much at its lowest setting, and this is essentially what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick the camera up, run over there, and take the picture real quick as I try to dodge these people and the cars that are coming. The main thing is that I'm just going to bracket my shot because the sky right now is very bright on these buildings and of course the bridge itself, and of course I am in shadow right now, so there is a large dynamic range. So like I said, I'm just going to bracket my shot and try to make everything as even as I can. So right now I'm shooting at 70 millimeters, and as far as shot position, I am very close to the bridge, and these two girls just decided to step in front of my camera and is directly in front of the bridge right now, so I have no shot. And now a FedEx truck is coming, so my composition is ruined, so I have to go back over there and reset up again. So towards the end, the task of trying to photograph this street without anybody in it became an impossibility because as I set up, more people just came out. Like they were pretty much littered the entire street, so it was impossible to really record or take photos of this street without anyone in it. So I guess the tip would be to come here really early. That's kind of obvious. And funny enough, I actually set my alarm clock for 5 a.m. this morning to come here. Well, actually to come and take pictures of sunrise at the Brooklyn Bridge. But 5 a.m. came along, alarm clock went off, and I went back to sleep. But in my defense, I actually checked the weather to see what it was like this morning, and the cloud coverage was like 99%, so it was futile to even try to come and photograph sunrise because there would be no sunrise. The whole sky would have been blanketed in clouds. So the plan is to either come back here tomorrow or in 2 days, which would be my other two chances of actually getting a decent sunrise. So I've made it to the little park and beach in between the Brooklyn and Manhattan Bridge. And I think for the most part, everything that I've planned to do for today is pretty much done. As far as photography, obviously, I don't have the best of conditions right now, just clear, bright blue skies with really harsh sunlight. So I can't really do much with it. And of course, the train's coming by. My saving grace for today was going to be long exposures. I was really hoping to get some patchy clouds or just some clouds at all over the Brooklyn or Manhattan Bridge, but unfortunately it's just nowhere in sight. There is no clouds in the sky, and that just really sucks. So like I said, no chance for photography. But you know, like I said earlier, I'll just have to come back another day, maybe tomorrow or in 2 days, where there is better forecast or expected forecast for there to be clouds. So that's what I'm just really banking on, because right now I really have no photos. I mean, I went all this way and have nothing so far. But I'm not too bummed about it because I'm here in New York getting to enjoy a new experience. So it's not all that bad. Not everything is about photography and work and life lesson, I guess. just finished up with my first ferry ride in New York, and today is like a public transportation filled day. And one thing I got to give up to New York is that their public transportation is really cheap. That ferry ride is only like $2.75 per person, so very economical, easy way to transfer and travel around the city. Right now it's about 5:30 p.m. and I just checked my cloud coverage app and there's 0% chance of cloud, so the chances of a really crazy sunset is pretty much non-existent. But I'm going to head to Grand Central Station right now and take some pictures of that, so some indoor photography. And check it out, there's the Empire State Building straight ahead of us, and my plan is to get a picture of the Empire State Building with the New York skyline at sunset. But like I said, there's no chance of a good sunset tonight, so we're just looking at it from here. So one thing I've noticed about New York so far, and I'm about to pass by some just to prove a point, but one thing that I've noticed so far is all the trash that New Yorkers just leave on the street. And from what I've heard, there's no like real waste bins. You know how like each house or each apartment complex would normally have a big garbage bin that you just dump stuff into. Apparently they don't do that in New York, or it's not common, so everybody just kind of throw their garbage on the side of the street and the garbage man comes and pick it up. And this is again surprising to me because the only other place that I've seen this done in the world is in Vietnam. So this is what I'm kind of talking about. Just the entire street is filled with garbage, and it's been like that the entire walk that I've been on so far. So I've officially made it inside Grand Central Station, and I don't know if you can see behind me. I knew that there was an Apple store in here, but I didn't know that it was super random. It's literally just on the second floor inside this main Grand Central Station hall. And if you couldn't tell, it's just completely an open door concept. I mean, you're literally at the train station. There's no walls or anything to block this out. This is literally just sitting here up top, second floor. So I've come up with two different compositions for this particular location, and I can't really show you it because it's kind of complicated. This seems like one of those places that you can't set up a tripod on, so I'm going to do it real quick. I'm just going to pop off my tripod, get the shot off real quick, and then hopefully I get it. But like I said, I can't really show you what's going on, so I'll just tell you what's happening right now. For me, a location like this, it's very obvious in terms of composition. For one, there isn't really much to take a picture of in terms of the location. Yeah, it's nice, it's big, and there's some stuff on the ceiling, and there's a lot of people, and that's about the main attraction for this particular location. As far as photography, to me, it's not really an amazing, beautiful location. It's just because you're here kind of picture. But for me, this picture is going to be an obvious long exposure. I'm going to focus on one particular spot, probably the center information desk with the clock on top, and then I'm just going to go run and do a longer exposure, maybe 1 or 2 seconds, so that with all these people walking around, you get a bunch of trails of people. And to me, announcement, and to me, that's probably going to be the best approach to me, this is going to be the best approach to getting this picture at a central location, pointing straight down the hallway on this side over here, just up on the side of this ledge. And then I'm going to walk over to the other side of the Apple Store and point towards this United States flag. And I think those two different compositions will be the best that I see as far as how to take a picture of this particular location. So, like I said, I'm just going to get my tripod, my camera gear out real quick and do it. Hopefully we get something nice. So I've taken my first image with the long exposure of these people walking around, and I'm onto my second location, which is shooting that American flag. I of course want it to be centered, but there's a big block of pillar blocking my way, and I can't get, well, technically I can get past this thing, but it's an emergency exit and people are not allowed to go past. It's a little gated area, so I can't make it over there to actually take this image of the flag, and that's just a bummer, but you know, I already got the first image, so that's good enough. So after a long day of walking around enjoying Brooklyn and now back to Manhattan, I think I'm gonna call this video here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, comment down below any thoughts or questions that you might have. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content, and especially more New York content to come. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.